Another Friday, another time to talk about sports on Metropole Sports Center. Good evening. My name is Nation Owano. Today we take a different trajectory in terms of what you're going to be reviewing on Sports Center today. Today we are going to look at what is going on in the NBA world and what it portends for basketball in the country. So in studio today, I'm joined by Zedi. Yeah, so Zed is going to be taking, he's my analyst for today. We're going to be looking at what is going on in the basketball world. Now, Zed, there's been interesting development in basketball in Africa, especially with BAL. So the other day, they were revealing the teams that are going to be playing in BAL. So what's your take about that? Are you impressed by that move by the NBA?
BAL is a good opportunity because this is a plan that has been in process for the last 10 years. Mm-hmm. There's a statement that Amadou Fall made when he was still head of NBA operations in Africa. Mm-hmm. And they had a plan to bring the NBA in Africa. Mm-hmm. So they started with the NBA Africa Games that happened twice in South Africa. I was lucky to be among the audience for one of the games. Mm-hmm. So it's a very, very good platform because most of the African talent, we do lack exposure because there is a lot of talent that is untapped. And when you listen to Masai Ujiri, when you listen to some of these NBA stars, they are normally saying that Africa is ready and Africa is now. And it's true because this is going to transform Africa and it's going to put sports in the world because sports is a multi-billion economy.
Yeah, it's actually a very expensive but quite good paying sport, you know.
Yes, so it's going to open a lot of job opportunities in terms of sports, from nutrition to sports law to physio to cardio and not just the physical training of coaches and staff. So it's gonna transform Africa, not only for the players but also to other guys who are taking sporting careers.
Okay. So when the teams that are going to be playing in BAL were being revealed, you could not help but notice, but there wasn't a Kenyan team there.
Yeah, there wasn't a Kenyan team by default. Remember NBA, not NBA, KPA, they were supposed to travel to Kigali. They arrived late. Then they had given a walkover in the first game, but went ahead to win the other 3 games. So Kenya is not there by default, but I think the teams that are there, that were launched during the All-Star game in Chicago, paints a very, very good picture because NBA is going to be witnessed in Africa in 12 different countries. It's going to be so amazing to be in those countries just to watch basketball at a very, very high level. So Kenya, we are ready. Only this year, maybe we'll not be there, but hopefully next year we may plan early and make sure we get there on time because we're on a very good run of form because going down to Seychelles, winning all the games, going to Kigali late, winning the other 3 games. So it's just by default.
Okay. So you've mentioned the NBA All-Star game that took place. So we're going to take a brief review on what happened this past weekend. Looking at the NBA season so far, they're at week 18. Have you been impressed by how the performance has been with the respective teams?
The performance, it has been great. The teams that have stepped up, even if you look at Toronto, they lost one of the best players in the league to the Clippers, but they have really managed because they were on a 15-0 run before losing the streak to Brooklyn, who are missing again another NBA star. So far the league has been okay, but we're missing some of the top teams in terms of on the top tier of the league. Golden State Warriors, they're struggling. If you look at the Bucks, they're really doing well. This is their season. If they cannot marshal themselves up to win the league this year, then it's going to be difficult to win it next year because you're going to have the Klay Thompsons, the Steph Currys back in the league. So it's going to be a very, very tough season for them next year. So I'm in for the Bucks this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So apart from Leonard, who are some of the players that you think are going to stand out or who have stood out for you at this particular point?
Several players have stood up. If you look at Booker, look at Siakam. These are players that Tatum. These are players that are very, very young, and they're fighting to be the face of the league in the coming years. And if you look at the atmosphere and the level they're playing in, it's quite amazing. If you look at the average points they're averaging per game, 30 points, 40 points a game, it's quite amazing. So there's so many young players who are coming up and are taking center stage of the league. But I think still LeBron is still gonna be the face of the league for now. Giannis Antetokounmpo is trying to do a very good job to just marshal him up. Pascal Siakam, Joel
Siakam
Embiid
has been on a roll of late,
Joel Embiid as well. So it's gonna be interesting as the season progresses. I know injury, the number of games is gonna wear guys up, but I do believe that it's gonna be the face of Africa. NBA is going to be the face of Africa in the next like 2-3 seasons, because if you look at Joel Embiid, if you look at Giannis Antetokounmpo, he's of an African descent, so we need to claim our legends as well.
Okay. So the other thing that one cannot avoid talking about in the league right now, actually this past weekend, was the NBA slam dunk contest. There was the whole conversation about who won that particular contest. Do you think it was okay?
Somebody went home not happy for the second time. Yeah, because if you look at what really transpired, those dunks were amazing. Somebody dunking over a 7-footer.
Yeah, that was impressive.
That was impressive.
Yeah.
That is a 10. But there's the rumor that D-Wade wanted it to go to Miami. So Miami won the skills challenge at the same time. They won the dunk contest, but I think the judging was not fair.
Okay.
Yeah, it was not fair at all.
So Aaron is on his right mind by saying that he's not going to be participating in that. So those are legit concerns.
They're legit concerns, because if you look at his dunks last year and you look at his dunks this year, they are all 10s. So him getting a 47, that was crazy.
So annoying.
That was so annoying.
So.
Yeah, because who goes over a 7-footer without touching them? You see, that elevation, that vertical, the dunk itself, that was so amazing. The 360 windmill, the turnaround after the alley on the side of the board. That was amazing. That
was impressive. But I liked that particular dunk when he hit the side of the board.
Yeah, and a lot of creativity as well. Yes, a lot of creativity as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because that timing, then going all the way around, then it's a windmill dunk. It's crazy.
Okay.
Not so many people can do that. Even I know the legendary Vince Carter can't pull that.
Okay. So let's hope next year things are going to be a bit different. Won't be having such concerns.
Hopefully, they need just to change the judges, because also in the panelists they have to bring in people that have played the game, know the game, and understand what it takes to just prepare for a dunking competition. Because how many players are in the league? How many players can dunk even on a 1-on-0 or maybe on a fast break? Very, very few players.
Okay, so thank you so much for finding time to come to studio. I'm looking forward to more of such, getting to demystify and understand how basketball is. So that's all the time that we had for Metropole Sports Center on the NBA review. We take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with more after the break. Well, it's another Friday, another time to catch up with what has been going on in the world of sports. A lot of activities have been taking place during the week, so we take this particular time to get a review about what you might have missed. What's the conversation has been during the week about your favorite team, your favorite player, in your favorite league in the sports world. Now today on Metropole Sports Center, I'm joined by our seasoned analyst, Salim Waziri. Welcome to studio.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Salim is going to be taking me through or helping me to make sense of the Champions League games that took place this particular week. Now, Salim, before we get to the discussing about the whole Champions League, the fixture, and how the results have been so far, there was a there's an event that took place early this week. That was when Musa Marega had to walk out of the pitch because of racism chants. What's your take about that particular instance?
First and foremost, it shouldn't be happening in modern day football. And I've played football, Nation. It's when you have this shortcoming with your physique, let's say, people tend to target you. And for me, I used to be so skinny, and so what happened to Musa Marega hits me different because I know how the lad feels. And when you watch how it was, I long for the day players will walk off the pitch with their teammate because racist chants have been directed towards him. But then again, you look at the entire scenario. The referees, they were like fueling the entire issue because he went on to be brandished a yellow card for defending his own skin. How does that even happen? But then again, it's high time now. FIFA have got to stop coming up with the hashtags and do something about it because the hashtags are not helping. You saw what happened to Sterling when they were playing against Bulgaria because of those Nazi posters and the racist remarks under that. So I think for me, time and time again, I keep on saying, FIFA has got to just ban those people from any football activity for life because there was one very funny incident, I think 3 or 2 years ago. A banana was thrown to Dani Alves. He made a joke out of it. He picked up and
which was a good approach.
Absolutely. Because and all these people that are doing this, they forget these footballers are human beings. The football is the only bread and butter. If you start doing wrong things to them about what they love most, or just make them a target of your racist chance, it's just not right. So I think for me, FIFA has got to do something because it's becoming too much. It's going to extreme levels.
So practically speaking, will we ever get to that point where racism is not an issue?
I doubt.
Okay.
I doubt because we have seen time and time again. The fans, most fans, they're not even fans. We cannot call them the fans of the beautiful game. They're more like hooligans because they're smearing a bad picture on the beautiful game. So I think for me, I don't think it will ever happen because you see at the moment the best footballers in world football. You name Lukaku, you name Iñaki Williams of Athletic Bilbao. The best strikers, the best footballers. Most of them have got that dark skin. So you look at Sadio Mane. So I don't think it will if FIFA don't step in because we talk about it and then the conversation just dies off. And then it picks up again. And yes, against Musa Marega, I think they were playing Victoria Guimarães in the Premier League in Portugal. It was just despicable. Okay.
So I long for a day when we'll actually get to that point when racism will be a thing of the past, where you just go there, you don't look at somebody based on the color of the skin, but on the quality or the skill that he brings to the football. Now, moving on swiftly to matters the Champions League. I know this week must have been a tough week for you. Your team was banned from the Champions League. I want you to detach yourself from Manchester City at the moment. Do you think they deserved that ban?
I'm a purist, Nation. And if you don't do anything and you don't follow protocol, follow the rules, you've got to be punished. And I think Man City never did that because their accounts books really was their greatest undoing because they say the book was not balancing. You find that in that sense that you're not supposed to use money from a different sponsor to take your club to elite status. You have to use the funds that are coming through the club. So and they used Etihad Airways, I think. So it's a tricky situation because you look at it in this kind of manner that if we are banned for 2 seasons, a lot of the cream de la cream of Man City have got to go away because all the best footballers in world football want to play in the Champions League. The KDBs, the Agueros, they are tailor-made for Champions League. They don't play there. They're as good as gone.
Okay. So should Liverpool consider this as a pat on the back or sort of an encouragement, especially for the next 2 seasons? Let's talk about this particular season. Should they take it as a positive nini for them, positive not for on their side, advantage on their side?
Yeah, it's kind of advantageous, but then again, you look at it in this manner. If Man City get banned from Champions League, they'll direct all their focus to the local trophies and they'll just reign supreme.
Which is even dangerous.
Yeah, it's much more dangerous
Yeah.
because they won't exchange hands with the trophy with another team. It will just be Man City all the way because now they won't have all those fronts to fight on. So I think for me it's not the Liverpool, the Man U fans should not rejoice because if City get banned, then they'll reign supreme for so many seasons.
Okay. So sticking to matters Liverpool, they lost their game this week against Atletico Madrid. Would you say this is a case of the champions curse, where once you win the trophy and then going into the tournament for the second time, you find yourself losing some particular matches? Would you say it's a case of champions curse, or is just a misfortune that they had?
No, I just think they came up against a team that has mastered the art of defending. And when we have talked this nation, all the Liverpool fans who are watching the show, we say that they don't have someone at the heart of their midfield or that craft and guile that can open up defense. You saw what Atletico did.
Yes.
They were comfortable having the ball wide because they know if the Trent and the Robertson cross our ball, they are comfortable defending the crosses. So, but I think for me, Liverpool, I've just, when you're almost 25 points clear, you tend to lose that mojo when you're coming up against that is so prepared in the Champions League, and that's what happened. But then again, take nothing away from Atleti, take nothing away from Diego Simeone, the Colismo himself. He was at the heart of that orchestra. Someone said he was a soloist.
Okay.
He could win all the awards because he's just so good at it. Yeah.
Okay. So part of the conversation that one cannot avoid steering away from was the whole VAR conversation. Yeah? Were you impressed by how VAR was used in the game?
Absolutely. It was. I think that's the right way to use it because time and time again, the referee has got to stop the game, kill the momentum of the game because of a lot of unnecessary calls. But then again, you saw the referee on the night. He got on with it because if there's no serious incident, just get on with it because you saw time and time again Liverpool were calling for it.
Yeah,
but as they
a lot of times actually.
They were calling for it and it just never happened because if I think that's the best way to use it. If there's no serious incident, Nation, you just get on with the play because you stop the game because you've seen VR time and time again. The game stops for almost 5 minutes. Yeah.
Actually, it has been accused of stealing the passion out of the game.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because they say there's no bad thing with VR. Technology has got to take its course. But then again, it has just taken that soul out of the game, a little bit of it. But when you talk about how much it's doing to the game, I think it's great for the beautiful game. Okay.
So in case you've missed what was going on in the Champions League, this is how the fixtures ended up. Atletico Madrid versus Liverpool ended 1-0 in favor of Atletico Madrid. Dortmund versus PSG, 2-1 in favor of Dortmund. And then Atalanta versus Valencia, the game ended 4-1. And then Tottenham Hotspurs versus Leipzig, the game ended 1-0 in favor of Leipzig. So Dortmund versus PSG game, was that a result that you expected? Any surprises in that game?
I didn't think Dortmund, with all fairness, would have beat PSG because of all the stars that are in that PSG side. But then again, we say it's never about the stars. It's just about on the night who wants it more. And I think Dortmund, by the time National were on the 30th minute mark, they would have put that game tied to bed entirely. They would have been 3 or 4-0 up. They just kept on squandering chances. But you look at that game, it never lived up to its expectation in the first half. Then in the second half, it just came alive. That's what that the quality on show was able to do. But you look at PSG, some time and time again, this is their golden generation. If they don't take the Champions League this season, it's bye-bye for the rest of their life again. So, but I think Dortmund I think Coach Lucien Favre has got the balance right. It's and the acquisition of Emre Can. He was not in the pecking order at Juventus, but he has come in. He's the man with the coolest head in their experience at its very best. And he was the man who kept on ticking Dortmund. So I think for me, they are a very proper side. And you look at that Haaland kid.
Yeah. Actually, I was actually going to raise that issue.
My goodness.
Like, did you see the class or the type of play that kid has?
Absolutely. And you talk about 11 goals now in I think 7 games.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Class.
That's impressive.
Yeah, and I think there was that talk of him going to Man U, and then he couldn't because his agent Mino Raiola couldn't allow him. But he made a right decision for the kid. So he goes where the system favors him, the way of play, and the way he looks now. In the next 2 or so years, that boy will be on top of the world.
Are we seeing the rise of another Kylian Mbappe? Because one impressive thing about Holland was his pace was out of this world. So are we seeing another Kylian Mbappe in the German league?
Absolutely, and it's just the calm. They say he has calm that is way beyond his years. And the beauty about him is that he's as comfortable on the ball as is as comfortable off it. So because when the ball is in his feet, he can do something with it. And without the ball, he can shut down. He can put all those tackles in. He's a modern day Robert Lewandowski. And you talk about it time and time again. You look at how many players have come through the Dortmund system, and you say this boy is in the right path. He's in the right path.
Okay. Atlanta versus Valencia. Were you surprised by that fixture?
Yeah, Valencia being seasoned.
Yeah.
Seasoned player or seasoned team in the Champions League. They really disappointed me. But you look at the way Atalanta play. Boy oh boy, when they get their mojo on, you're in big trouble. And it happened because we saw the likes of Kondogbia at the heart of the midfield. They let Papu Gomez play, the Argentinian. You do that to that lad and he will pick you off all day. And 4-1, you ask yourself, 4-1, how did Valencia concede so many goals? But it's just in the class in the Atalanta side. And those lads play some beautiful football. If any team in world football is saying they won't make it as far, they'll be shocked in the latter stages.
Okay. So one key thing about Atlanta is that they were making a debut in the Champions League.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they did quite an impressive performance on that particular fixture. I think what stood out for me in that particular game was just from the word go, you could actually see it in their passion that they were actually here to win this game. Now going into the second fixtures of that game, what do you think Valencia need to change so that maybe the game changes in their favor, I guess?
Yeah. You've got to do the way Atletico did to Sadio Mane. You look at Valencia, they have players in there, the Condogbias, the Parejos. These are players that can, at the Mestalla in Spain, they can come to the party. So you get, when you're playing at home in the Champions League, get off the blocks, you've got to be quicker. That's what Atalanta did. From the first whistle, they were on it. So if Valencia can get 2 goals in the first 15 minutes, they're right in the conversation because they scored an away goal already. But I don't think, because one thing about Atalanta, they deny you that ball because they like playing too. So they won't give Valencia so many chances, but you never know about football. The football gods might just have something else up their sleeve.
Might be in your favor on that particular fixture.
Yeah, but as we have said time and time again, if Valencia just get a goal or 2 goals within 15 minutes, the Mestalla will be jumping.
Okay. The Tottenham game, were you surprised?
Not really, because I was expecting Leipzig to come to the party, and they did, because again they also squandered a lot of chances. And you have Yoon-Min Son was out, and you have Harry Kane, and then you ask yourself, well, will the goal come from for Tottenham? But then again, Leipzig, as they say, they're like kids playing the mud. They don't care about the dirt, they just care about the fun. So and that's what they did yesterday, and they were just top class. Nothing more. They were just top class.
Okay. So going into the second fixture, do you expect Tottenham Hotspur to change the result of that? Unless a comeback, is it possible practically, looking at the lineup and how they played? Is it possible?
Yeah, it is, because Jose Mourinho is a seasoned coach when it comes to the Champions League. He's a man who was won it with Porto and with Inter Milan, so he knows his trade. He knows when the chips are down, he has just got that extra quality to come up with some magic. But then again, you look at the way his team is at the moment. I think the Champions League, between Son and Kane, the 11 goals, I think Dele Alli is the only one who has scored a goal each with, I think, Lucas Moura. But then again, I don't think where the goals will come from, because in the Champions League, you need the cream de la cream of your team to be there. So because it's a matter of goals. You score more goals, you win the tie. And you don't have players who can score goals, you're in big trouble. Unless he comes up with some magic, I think.
Tactical change won't work in his favor? Say it doesn't bring those particular players back. Practically, doesn't bring them back, but a slight change of tactical, will it change the dynamics for them?
Absolutely, because I think for me, he has got to play Moura as a 9, because of his pace and power, and the lad can dribble and get past players. But failure to that, I don't think, because Leipzig in their own backyard, they're a different beast altogether, because you saw yesterday, they came out there and just played their hearts out. You can imagine what they can do to you in their own home turf.
Okay. So any going into the fixture, any surprises you're expecting in the upcoming fixtures?
Do
Do you think Atlanta is going very far?
Yeah, I feel it. I can feel it, because one thing they do, they'll give you a chance to score, but they make sure they outscore you, and that's it. That's the trick, Nation. They have players, the Ilicic, the Papu Govers, I think the Duvan Zapatas. They know these lads. If given the right ball, they'll outscore the opponent. But I think Atalanta might just get there, but the quality, the likes of, let's say, the Juves will just be too much, and they won't get past, I think, the quarterfinals.
Okay. So we'll be following up that story and to see how the fixtures are going to stack up at the end of the day. So we quickly take a brief run through about on some of the sporting events that are going to be taking place in the course of the weekend. So on to the Champions League, the games that are going to be played: Napoli versus Barcelona, Chelsea versus Bayern Munich, Lyon versus Juventus, and then Real Madrid versus Manchester City. Now today we take a different trajectory. We're going to be looking at the NBA, what is going to be taking place in the NBA. The Sacramento Kings are going to be playing against the LA Clippers. Brooklyn Nets are going to be playing against the Charlotte Hornets, Dallas Mavericks versus Atlanta Hawks, and then Boston Celtics versus Los Angeles Lakers. Another fixture that you need to watch out for is Minnesota Timberwolves are going to be playing against the Denver Nuggets, and then New Orleans Pelicans versus the Golden State Warriors. Miami Heat is going to be playing against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and then Atlanta Hawks are going to be playing against the Philadelphia Sixers. Salim, going back to the games that are going to be played in the Champions League, any surprises you're expecting? Napoli versus Barcelona?
Napoli have been having a very torrid time in the Serie A, but maybe they might just want to make a mark or have a say in the Champions League, because they have some quality players in there. But I think it won't be too much to to scare off Barcelona, because we know time and time again, Messi leaves for the Champions League. He will just, I think they will.
It's like it's on his own playground, you know.
Absolutely. And now that they are meeting again with Cristiano Ronaldo in the Champions League, because he left the La Liga. So I think he might want to have a say in the outcome of the tie, because I think for me Messi will come to the party and he will just dismantle Napoli.
Okay. So the other fixture, Chelsea versus Bayern, is that one like a direct one you can tell, or?
I feel for Chelsea. Okay. I feel for them, because Bayern, the way they are playing at the moment, they have got the mojo back.
Okay.
And they are looking like a complete different beast. I think Chelsea, the way they have been blowing hot and cold, they do that against Bayern. They're in big trouble. But the advantage is they are Stamford Bridge, so they might have a chance.
Let's hope the home support at least gives them the
12th man. They might have a chance, but I think Bayern Munich, the way they play, boy oh boy, I don't think there's the Chelsea team is strong enough to just keep them quiet.
Okay. So thank you so much for finding time to come to studio, Salim. Always nice having you on the show.
Always a pleasure.
Okay. So that's all the time that we have today on Metropole Sports Center. Do wish you a fabulous weekend. See you next week, same place, same time.